There are 5 main stages to wastewater treatment: the influence stage, the aeration stage, the final settling clarifier stage, the chlorine contact chamber stage, and the effluent stage. The vast majority of the wastewater we process flows in through a single 6-inch underground pipe located on the west end of the building. Just before entering the facility, it passes through what's known as the Muffin Monster Manhole. The Muffin Monster Manhole contains a comminutor, which is basically a powerful grinder that breaks down all incoming solid materials. The mechanically shredded wastewater then flows by gravity to the influent lift flow equalization chamber inside the building. This tank is designed to balance the varying flows of water activity throughout the day. Once the wastewater reaches a certain level, a float switch activates one of 2 cycling pumps and transfers a portion of it into the aeration chamber. During the transfer process, it also passes through a second comminutor to further break down any remaining solid materials. The aeration chamber is where 90% of the actual wastewater treatment takes place. In the middle of the tank is a large pipe with a flare at the base. There is an opening at both ends and a splash disc at the top. An air supply pipe runs down the center and continually releases air into the lower section of the pipe. As the air mixes with the wastewater, it naturally rises up and deflects outwards off the splash disc. This upward flow draws in more wastewater from the opening at the bottom and creates a gentle circular mixing motion throughout the entire length of the chamber. This mixing of air and wastewater, along with maintaining the proper room temperature, creates the ideal environment for the aerobic bacteria to digest the biological wastes inside of the wastewater. After approximately 35 hours, the wastewater has been sufficiently treated and is then transferred via airlift pumps into the final settling chamber clarifier tank. The clarifier's job is to separate the aerobic bacteria and leftover solids known as activated sludge from the partially treated wastewater. The activated sludge either floats to the surface, where it's recovered and returned to the aeration chamber via the surface skimmer return pipe, or it sinks to the rounded settling chamber bottom, where a mechanical sweeper arm recovers and returns it to the aeration chamber via the sludge return pipe. The now clarified and partially treated wastewater flows by gravity into the chlorine contact chamber. Inside of the chlorine contact chamber, the partially treated wastewater is mixed with a measured chlorine solution, which completely kills off any remaining pathogens and bacteria. The resulting safe water now flows by gravity into the effluent station. Once the water inside of the effluent chamber reaches a specified level, a float switch activates one of 2 cycling pumps and transfers a portion of the treated water through an underground pipe that leads to the 91 effluent pond northwest of the building. At this point, it's completely safe to use for road watering or any other uses where drinking water quality is not required. A few additional notes about this facility. In the northwest corner of the building is the blower room, which houses 2 cycling blowers inside of a metal cabinet. A pipe runs along the north wall, which is how we supply air to the aeration tank, airlift pumps, and other air-operated equipment within the facility. Also, periodically, enough sludge will build up in the system that it needs to be removed